Hello and welcome to my first video on this series of talks about software development, startups, and tech products. Yeah, most especially startups. So, I'm really interested in startups and the process of building something because I currently am building something. And along the line, I just get these thoughts and these, I call it feelings. So I also go to a step ahead to make research and watch videos, read books, read tutorials about them to confirm my theories. And eventually, I feel like I have this profound insight about certain things, and I want to share them with other people. So I'm making this. I'll continually keep on making these videos. Hopefully, and be talking about the things that I think about startups. So today, I'm just going to cover specifically what we want to talk about today, which is the unique distribution of roles in a startup. So, first of all, why startups? What is a startup? A startup is like, and this is genuinely what I feel is a startup and why anyone would ever eventually want to make a startup, is when you have a unique idea that has valid market fit or markets of a valid market, a valid sizable market, yes, for that product. So you find in our society in Nigeria there are a lot of problems. Okay, so depending on how you can solve that problem, some would need a specific tool that currently does not exist. So, and that too might eventually need to leverage technology, AI, software, whatever aspect of technology that we have in our current world. That too will need to leverage it to be able to solve that problem that you definitely and you are certain it exists in our society. So you go ahead to build that product and turn it into a business. That to me is a valid description of a startup. That is when you know, yes, I have a start. Okay, okay. Perhaps that is not entirely what it means to have a startup. Startup is a fast growing company. So when you have a problem that you need to solve and you rely on technology to build a fast solution, not just a fast but an efficient a solution that you know you would need to scale at a very fast pace because the world moves very fast right now, then I am pretty sure you are in the environment of a startup, or you are leading the environment of a startup, or leading into an environment of a startup. So now the second one is the process of execution and its components. I want to talk about the process of execution and its components. So the truth is that I don't want to rush this. Like I really want to feel the thoughts because I've had all these thoughts before. But now talking about this, then I feel like I might leave some things behind, and you might feel like I'm not giving you enough value for your time. So I don't want to overrush this, but at the same time, I don't want to waste time and be talking about some gibberish that you would not want to hear. So let's just see how I can make this very fast. While still giving as being as insightful as I possibly can. So process of execution and its components. While running a startup, you need to know that execution is everything. Look at the world right now. Let's talk about the most common thing right now. We know that is AI. Every AI is everywhere. It's undeniable. And look at all the companies, all the big tech. We have Microsoft. We have let's just still see OpenAI. We have and Google. We have Anthropic. We have XAI. We have so many labs. We have so many science labs and research labs working on AI models. You cannot deny that there is a race, there is a competition. Everyone working on their model, trying to come up with something better. Be the top on the next comparison. So you just have to identify that seems to be building this around this same revolutionizing technology, which is AI. So, what would make you stand out is not just how good your AI model is, but how quick you can deliver it to your audience. Because right now, if Google and OpenAI, for instance, or let's just say Google and Anthropic, Gemini and Opus, we're currently delivering, are currently leading I think they are currently the ones leading the benchmarks now in terms of like performance. So the one that is able to come to the market faster with a very efficient model is the one that the users get to interact with first. You see, so if I get to interact with let's say Opus 4.9, because right now it's 4.8 is the latest model, and they say it beats all the benchmarks. It's the best currently. And let's say 4.9 comes out, and 4.9 is just insane. We're expecting Gemini 3.5 Pro around later at the end of this summer. So um if 4.9 comes out and 4.9 just beats all the benchmark hands down, like, it's just perfect for everything, and for some strange reason the pricing is so affordable, um and I start using it, and I'm absolutely bedazzled. Like I'm in love with 4.9. you know Eventually I will get used to it. Right now I'm very used to 3.5 flash, Gemini 3.5 flash. I only just tried Opus recently because Gemini was seeming to, you know, just too appealing. It wasn't pushing back on any of my ideas. I felt like let me just see get something else. So before that, I was very satisfied with 3.5 flash in terms of like logical reason and everything. So it was like everything just seems to be going so well. So I'm still saying that if Opus 4.9 happens to be just so amazing, like absolutely amazing, I don't see why I will then take my money and go and buy or subscribe for another model, except I had a specific use case, reason to buy that model or subscribe for that model. That is the thing, and that is how it is with almost every other product. That thing that you think you're building, and right now in our world where AI is solving almost everything, where some people's entire startup is just a single feature of Gemini or one Google product that encompasses like 200 different features. You understand? And people are building a startup just around one single idea that Google already shipped like 6 months ago. So it's like if you are planning on going to market, but you are not executing within a certain time frame, you can't hold yourself accountable to a certain time frame. You're not just going to lose the market, you're going to be wasting resources. And the more you keep on wasting the resources, the more it gets harder for you to bounce back to even reiterate and try to do something different in case that thing fails. Because when you execute fast, you fail fast. And when you fail fast, you learn faster. So when you learn that this thing that you're doing is not going to work out, you are able to pivot to something else through the knowledge you've acquired from your previous attempts, and come up with something better, come up with a better solution or a better product or a better idea, a better strategy. That is the way you work. So the process of execution needs to be fast. That is just the nature of the execution right now. Needs to be fast. Secondly, there needs to be a structure. There is what they call the software development life cycle. I feel like a lot of vibe coders these days, of vibe builders, don't even know about development life cycle. When you don't just get an idea and you start building, though right now everybody is shipping, you get a small idea, validate it with AI, and you ship. But some people are not even validating at all. So the idea is once you start from finding a problem, that's actually where you come from. You identify a problem. Once you identify this problem, you validate the problem. You validate that this is actually a problem that exists in our society. You ask family members, you ask friends, you ask strangers, you ask people. You also go online, you also ask AI, you also make research on the internet. You do so many various ways, but don't do it in such a way that you waste your time. You're still fast. That's the idea of the nature of execution. It has to be fast. You have to be rapid about everything you're doing. So once you validate the idea, you ideate on a solution. You think about the way you can solve this, and then you validate your approach towards that solution. So you try to use that idea in a practical sense to solve the problem, and then you also ask people if this solution is something that they are willing to accept, and see if they are willing to use, you know both in the present term and in the long term. you know because while something can work today, it's possible that it will not work tomorrow. It's very possible. Ideas die out sometimes faster than you can even imagine. So that is the entire concept of it reiterating. So the next step is that okay after you find a problem, you validate the problem, you find a solution, and you ideate on a solution, and then you validate the solution. Then once you find that solution is valid, then you start building, you start implementing the components. So what are the components um of of whatever it is that you'll be building? Definitely going to be there's definitely going to be code, the technological aspects of it. There is going to be need for resources. Everything, almost everything online, it's is gate kept by subscriptions. All our AI models, subscriptions, add your credit card, all the host, most of the hosting, the reliable hosting, and deployment services. It's going to need subscription for those ones too. Your domain name, almost everything you're going to do online is going to, I mean, there are free versions. I'm not going to deny that there are workarounds towards that. But if you're thinking about executing fast, you need to have substantial resources that you can use to to overlook all those walls that you might face in the process of development. Because I have been building for a long time, and people can tell you that there are free versions of this, there are free versions of that, but it is not advisable to rely on free versions. If you can raise money to pay for this component, please and please do. Please and please do. It will save you so much, especially if you are very, very serious about this thing that you're building. That's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. Anything other than that, you might just be wasting your time trying to find a loophole around. You know, find a loophole around that. Meanwhile, a simple $10, a simple $20 subscription will get you like 3 months, 4 months of runtime on that service, or too many different services. So it's things that you think about, and I feel like things people don't tell you, because we have a lot of people that are building right now, a lot of young Nigerians that are building different services, and you guys don't actually know this. You don't actually know that you need to actually spend money to build something, substantial, something useful, something impactful. You need to spend money. You cannot do without spending money, honestly, in our current world. You can't. Um, Numbers doesn't mean you need to spend so much money, but you need to spend some amount of money if you're going to be something useful. So now, those are the components. Those are the idea of components. I mean, resources. Then the people. Yeah. So this is actually the third part, the executors. The executors are also part of the components. And I also want to say this: if you are building a startup, or you and your teammates are building a startup, you as an individual member should be able to ask yourself, am I doing something in this team that no one else can do? It's a very valid question. If you are the sole founder of this idea and of this product, and you identify that you are not able to do this thing by yourself, you need to get a co-founder. Be very intentional about the role that you need the co-founder to handle. A lot of times people just get co-founders for the sake of, oh, I want to have a team, I want to have a co-founder, I want us to be looking like we are busy, I want us to be looking like we're busy and we're doing something, co-founder this, late night calls. blah blah blah. I've had so many late night calls that even went over to the next morning. That went over to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and the product is currently dead. You know, it happens. I mean, at the time, you look like you are investing so much. You're having all these calls, having all these meetings. You're exchanging all these PDFs and exchanging um, all these Word documents, Notion board, and blah blah blah, linear workspace, whatever, whatever. And some people might even go and create a Slack for a two-person team because they are avoiding distractions. At the end of the day, it just increases the communication overhead, and everything just happens slowly at the end of the day. So it's, I don't blame people. To be honest, I don't, it things that you have to actually experience in order to learn. That is why I'm doing stuff like this, so that people can actually understand that these are some common misconceptions. Like there's some misconceptions that we have as young builders, and we end up, well, I say, engaging in and wasting our time, and just I don't know, and just having so much time pass, and at the end of the day, I've done nothing. We have achieved nothing. So the executors, every single person must have a unique role that they are able to bring into the team. Don't go and call someone and say, come and be my co-founder, and give them like 50%, divide the equity, 50 50 50, 50% of equity of a business, or something that you could do by yourself just because you're lazy, or just because you're feeling like you needed a co-founder. No, be very intentional about co-founder. And another thing is that people change. Okay, people change. You need to be, when I say intentional, you need to be intentional. Intentional is actually the word. You need to be intentional. You need to really be deep thoughtful about it. Like, think deeply about what it is that you actually want from this person. Does this person match the necessary skill set? Does this person have the capacity to grow with you as the needs of this company keeps changing? Because believe it or not, nobody might, that person you call your co-founder might not see the vision, but what they might see is someone that is ambitious and is relentless and is committed. And is that your commitment that they're looking towards? So when they see that you're no longer committed again, are they able to also bring you back on track? Because they also understand the vision of that product, and they know that if they stay committed to that thing, it will 10x whatever investment that, or 100x whatever investment that you are currently making in the product right now. So that is it about executors. So one question I want you to take home from this part of executors is that you need to ensure that whoever it is that you are bringing to set up is someone that you are confident of their ability in whatever role it is that you're bringing them on board on. And they also have um a certain attribute of um long-term tolerance, you know, in the journey of building. Because if you are not able to tolerate the difficulties that come with the process of this, startup venture, whatever it is you're doing, because believe it or not, a lot of these things will take longer time than you expect it to be. You'll feel like, okay, I'll just vibe code it now. You see so many posts on X, on YouTube. I've coded a startup and now I'm getting 200k MRR. I currently just hit 100k ARR, on my vibe coded SaaS. you know it's not like you think, bro. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the honest truth. It's not like you think. And even some of those guys that are actually legit, do you will see like you ask them, we actually go in depth on what they are actually, or on how they actually built that vibe coded as SaaS. These people um already have a real job that gives them real cash, real hard cash, and they have Gemini Gemini Ultra Max. They have the high subscription on Claude. They have Grok 4. You understand? You know, they have access to the latest frontier models. So they are not the same with us. They're not the same with us. So don't deceive yourself that you're just going to open Claude and put in some prompts, and before you know, you vibe code some SaaS that is making you 200k ARR. within your first year of launch. It's not. I honestly feel like if I'm being real, it doesn't work that way. But yeah, if you still feel like you can just randomly prompt some shit and start making some bunch of cash, well, good luck to you. So now the final and the ending part of this is splitting equity. So I would also attach a link in the show notes on how much equity to give your co-founder by Michael Sabel. Is one of the partners on, or I think ex-partner because he's retired now, of Y Combinator. So you can watch his video on understanding how much to equity to give your co-founder. But what I would say about giving equity is that first of all, understand what it is that you want this person to be handling. So be as explicitly clear as possible on what it is that you want your co-founder to be handling before you start talking about startups. So when you understand exactly what it is you want your co-founder to be handling, stuff that you know that okay, these are things that I cannot do on my own. I need someone's help here. You are more motivated to want them to do it as best as possible. So you're not trying to like be, well, I say, strategic about the the equity. You are giving them because you know that they are deserving of this equity, of this amount of stake in this company, so then to efficiently handle this part because you know that they have full autonomy over this part. This is something that I cannot do. This is something that I know that this is your part. And if you don't handle it, nobody else can handle it. So you are willing to give them as much equity as reasonably possible for them to honestly and intentionally contribute to that part of the startup as possible. So once you understand that, I feel like you look at division of equity completely differently. But the video is also very important and you should watch it. Also, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you feel like I should cover next, drop it in the comment section. Please drop a like and subscribe if this made sense to you. I'll be seeing you soon with other things to talk about related to startups. Thank you very much for your time and have a nice one. Bye.